Hi ladies, I'm Pidge.
And I'm Moen.
Welcome to the Night Shift Court podcast. We are two shift-working fantasy book lovers and love nothing more than leaving reality behind for a bookish adventure.
Join us as we go under the mountain to discuss our favourite fantasy fiction tales and the authors behind them.
Come with us to explore the stories, one shift at a time. Hi ladies.
Hi, welcome back.
We are up to episode
36.
36, yeah.
30 fucking six.
That's right. And we are actually up to part 3 of the book.
Hi, lady.
Yeah, yes.
Well, chapters 51 to 55.
That's right.
Don't get excited. It's not that chapter 55.
No. The chapter 55 in this book is nowhere near as good as chapter 55 in Mist and Fury.
It's good in a different way.
Yeah.
It's not smart.
No, that's right. So they winnow to the Illyrian camp now,
Yes.
on their way to the Grayson estate. And Feyre sees a dark sea of leather-clad bodies, which is right up your alley, as we know from last episode. Only a few with singular siphons, which really emphasizes...
I was just trying to work out why you've just made me sound like I'm a BDSMer.
Maybe you are with all this audio equipment. Oh, no, that's ASR.
I was going to say, sorry, ASMR and BDSM are also not the same thing, but stop it because you have equal amounts of audio equipment than I do.
And this is the pain cave.
That's right. Yes,
Sorry,
does everyone know that?
No. What did you say it was?
BDSM.
What does that stand
Like
for?
bondage. What does it stand for? Hey,
I don't
Siri.
know. BDSM is a variety of often erotic practices or role-playing involving bondage, discipline, dominance and submission. Oh, and sadomasochism.
What
the fuck is that?
Oh, look, it's all the same to me. Basically,
is that like satanic?
being demeaning and being a sadist and a masochist, basically.
Does that turn people on?
Look, everything turns people on. I'm going to have a shout out to my friend Claire.
Okay.
So at What Claire Read on Instagram, she is a friend of mine who's a bookstagrammer now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do know her.
She's doing such a good job. So Claire, go fucking you. And she is a dark romance reader.
Okay.
And she's really fucking good at it.
Okay.
So not so long ago I reached out to her and I was like, look, give me a book. Give me a dark romance book. Mm-hmm. And I said, I've got no triggers because I really don't. Like, I'm a paramedic.
Yeah.
Nothing really fucking bothers me, to be honest. Especially if it's literature and fiction.
Yeah.
Because I can
Compartmentalise the fact that it's
not real.
fiction.
Yeah. So I said, give me a book to read and I've got no triggers and I just want equal amounts of plot and dark romance. You know what I mean? So she gave me a recommendation. I haven't yet to read the book.
Okay. Do you remember what it was called?
I can tell you.
Yeah.
Okay. So she gave me 3 recommendations. So her top picks for taboo/spicy/romance, a good starting point before jumping to dark romance.
Okay.
So the first one is called Salt Kiss by Sierra Simone.
Oh, yes, I've heard of that. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So Salt Kiss is a male and male female.
Okay.
So like if you're not into that, then don't read it. The next one is Latte Darling by S.J. Tilley.
Okay.
And that is an age gap romance.
Yep.
And then the third one is Praise by Sarah Kate.
That's an intense one, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Praise is age gap, taboo, dominance, submissive, just a good old time, she said.
Okay.
And I was like, fucking fabulous.
Okay,
yeah. So there you go. There's a free recommendation for you if you're in the dark romance world or taboo world.
I'm just still stuck on the fact that people like to be degraded.
Yes. It's like there's some fetishes where men like to be urinated on.
Oh.
Cannot fucking relate. Like, and this is no judgment, by the way. Like, do you, boo? whatever you like, because I don't care.
That's true. I generally have a mantra that as long as your choices don't impact my life, I don't actually give a shit what they are.
But every time I hear about like degrading and that sort of stuff, all I can think about is the episode of Sex and the City where Carrie Bradshaw does date a guy who's actually a politician who wants to be urinated on, and she tells everyone because
that's what you do amongst your girlfriends.
Yeah.
As if you wouldn't tell that. That is the fucking tea.
Sorry, this is the beginning of the episode. I will preface this. It's 8:30 p.m.
It is. We are recording on the night shift.
We're recording on the night shift. I am post 2 night shifts.
Yeah.
So I'm quite tired.
Yeah.
And I'm quite unhinged. And we've just obviously gone from the Illyrian mountain to sadomasochism and urination. So let's jump right back to Lord Devlin.
So Feyre and Moore stand on either side of Nesta, creating a wall of bodies. Sounds a little bit like what we were just talking about, to shield Elaine from view. And I just want to make a note that she mentions that Nesta is wearing a dark blue practical dress, which means she didn't fucking change into pants.
A practical dress. What does that look like?
Right.
I feel like Lydia Millen knows what a practical dress looks like.
Okay, yeah, agree.
Yeah.
I likened it to the modern day version of jeans and a nice top. Do you remember like when you would go out for tea with like your girlfriends and you'd be like, what's everyone wearing?
Jeans and a nice top.
Everyone would say jeans and a nice top.
Do you know what? I've heard several younger influencers recently say jeans and a nice top, and I am here for it.
Are you?
Yeah, I am. Fucking jeans and a nice top. I never let that trend go. I'm
Really?
sorry. Yes,
Okay.
I'm there.
I'm not for jeans and a nice top.
Oh, sorry. You need to get with it.
I don't think I've ever found a pair of jeans that look good. Never.
Okay.
Never.
All right. Well, we'll need to go shopping.
Oh, yeah. Dress? Absolutely. I'm there. Not a blue practical dress. It'll be the most fucking impractical thing you've ever seen, but it's pretty.
A blue practical dress, all I've got in my head is like a smock.
Oh, I just pictured like a pencil dress.
Really?
Yeah, like a corporate-esque.
Corporate Nesta at the Illyrian Mountain.
Yes. Like what shoes are you wearing with that, babes?
Well, pumps.
She must be.
Yeah.
But surely she'd be wearing her Mary Peoples in the mud. That's what they're for.
With the practical pencil dress.
It's a weird mishmash of things.
Where is she putting her ID card?
On her lanyard. Where else?
Her
do you
bookish
keep your
lanyard.
Yeah, where else do you keep your ID?
Yeah, her Starfall lanyard.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
right.
Oh, what is going on?
Reese and Cassian start handing out orders. All the while, Lord Devlin stands at the front, listening but making facial expressions that show his uninterest in this conversation. But his eyes drift towards the females. He notices Nesta and says, "What is that?"
I have this overwhelming feeling of Lord Devlin reminding me of someone.
It's not Lord Farquaad. We've already got someone for him.
No, someone in our real life.
Oh.
Yeah.
Say their name and then blank it out.
I'll have to beep it out.
Oh, he's... Never mind. No one say that.
Just someone who thinks like
Honestly,
women are useless and
I've never met him. Never met him.
Okay. Well,
Sounds like I
take my
need to
word
run
for it.
over him in the car park. You point him out next time, babe.
Moving on.
All the Illyrians start making the symbol for the Catholic cross and like murmuring to the mother and all those
The
other-
Hail Mary.
Yes, literally. And I'm like, well, that's not going to save you. And he asks if Nesta is a witch.
Yeah.
Before anyone can reply, she's like, yes. And I love that she's confident enough now that she's in the inner circle and actually a functioning member of the inner circle that she's like, I'm just going to fuck with them.
Yeah. I love it too.
Yeah.
Because Devlin's a douche.
Isn't he?
Yeah.
He says, keep her away from the females and children. I'm like, that's who the witches love most. You remember Hansel and Gretel eat the children?
Yes.
Reese tells Feyre to take her sisters to the war tent, as Devlin might indeed throw a hissy fit if he has to look at Nesta for one more minute. She aims for the biggest tent, which has a black banner, which has a picture of the mountain and the 3 stars at its apex. X
Cute.
for the night court.
I love it.
Isn't that nice?
I'm here for it.
Yeah, me too. Feyre describes the tent's luxuries and also the curtain which hides their bed at the back. I don't really know why you need a separate area, but anyway.
I do.
But like the tent is the boundary, is it not?
But like people pop into your tent for a cuppa.
Who the fuck is popping in to their tent for a cuppa?
I don't know, but you've got to separate the sex and the cuppa.
No.
Like,
Sorry, I mean, yes, but like, surely. Can you keep it in your pants for the one night?
but it's the
that you're
one night
here.
before. It might be their last night. Oh, I would love to slow-mo that eye roll and put it on social media.
I just had to look at my brain really quickly. Maul lounges in one of the comfy chairs and says, "Welcome to an Illyrian war camp, ladies. Try to keep your awe contained."
I'm just getting back to sex.
Of course.
But there's many men.
See, what I said at the start of the episode, it wasn't me, it's her. There is many men, and all of them, you can't have them all. We've talked about it.
It's okay. I just want 3.
Specific 3.
Yeah.
Not just 3 random
No. I would be choosing.
Fair.
Not them.
Yeah, fair.
It's Saint Calanmai.
Nesta asked what's the difference between a fae and a witch, which when she asked it, I was like, hold on a sec. Yeah, I want to know the answer to that too.
Well, okay.
Shall I?
Yeah, okay. I know you've done some research.
Absolutely. Witches amass power beyond their natural reserve. They use spells and archaic tools to harness more power to them than the cauldron allotted and use it for whatever they desire, good or ill. Whereas fae are gifted with the allotted amount of power that they intend to use for whatever they want, good or ill as well. So
Okay.
that's not a huge difference.
No.
Not a huge difference.
Just the pointy nose versus the pointy ears.
Not all witches have pointy noses. You know, it is a
Are you
trademark.
referring to you?
Yes.
Turn around again. Oh, I mean, it's pointy, as all noses are. It's not witch-like, though.
No, I wouldn't say it's
You don't have a
witch-like either.
witchy nose, for those that aren't watching on YouTube. Just so you know, Peach is quite pretty. Cue you saying, I look quite pretty.
Let me clarify, not at work and not at home and often not when we record.
Not much.
If I go out for tea.
5% of the time, you're quite pretty. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, 5%. I've also had people comment on my hair as well.
Yes.
And I would just like to clarify that I do curl my hair, but it lasts for days.
Yes.
I'm blessed, #blessed with this hair.
Blessed with the best.
Which just stays like it's got hairspray in it, which is both a blessing and a curse.
Yes.
So people think I'm like
Put together all the time.
Yeah. But this was
Lazy.
done. This was done days ago.
And she does have good hygiene, I promise, because she has daily 15-minute showers.
Sometimes twice a day. I've already showered once and I will shower after you go home as well.
Not because she's getting hot and bothered in here in the pain cave.
I feel like I need to talk about that now. So our studio is indeed what we refer to, my husband and I, as the pain cave, and that sounds really bad. I'm going to start that again. I think is probably the most appropriate.
Doesn't matter if you start it again. I'm going to leave it in as it was.
So middle-aged men who ride indoors bikes. Oh, let me say it.
I can't help it.
Don't look at me. Middle-aged men who cycle indoors on like the trainers refer to the room that they use to do such a task as the pain cave. And my husband is a middle-aged man who indoor cycles. And so we refer to this room as the pain cave. But it also serves the purpose of I can sit at my desk and watch that occur. And I'm sure you've received my Snapchats in the past that Barry likes to work out in here and I am more than happy to keep him company.
Yes.
Not working out.
Online shopping specifically.
Yes.
Yes.
So anyway, it's called the Pain Cave and everyone I know refers to it as the pain cave.
Yes.
And even Google, if you ask her to turn on the heat pump in the pain cave, she'll turn it on.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's very ingrained in all of our devices. So
Our assault bike at home, like our air assault bike, is called Ruin because it ruins you.
yeah, yes.
So, yes, same concept. We do not call our downstairs room where it is the pain cave, though.
Oh, we have a hoe and we call her Sally.
I feel like every Sally that listens to this is going to be
wildly
offended.
yeah.
You're not a hoe, Sally. Don't. Just relax.
Yeah. Anyway, chapter 52.
Yes.
They arrive at the Grayson estate.
Yes.
And they wait under the shade of an oak tree whilst one of the guards goes to see if Grayson will come out to speak with Elaine.
Yes. And Elaine is glamoured by Moore as human. So she's appearing human, but
She's appearing even more drab than she normally is.
She's deceptive as fuck is what she is.
He agrees to speak with them at the guardhouse, but they're not allowed inside of the fortress. And the guardhouse is a small, stuffy room, and Feyre starts to get a bit claustrophobic.
Yes. So Feyre admits to Nesta because Nesta sees that she's quite uncomfortable. And Feyre admits to her that she has a problem with small spaces. And Nesta has a very sisterly reaction.
She does.
For once in her fucking life.
Yeah.
And actually explains to Feyre that she also has an uncomfortable feeling, and she reveals that she has not been able to get in the bathtub since that fateful day when she was thrown in the cauldron, and she uses buckets instead. Now, I thought I would take this to the next level.
Before you do, I would just like to comment that that's a horse bath.
So let's go back to 1767 when the first patent for a shower was granted to William Feetham, who was a stove maker from London.
Did he think hot is good and people like water? So let's put the two together.
Fashioned the shower. And
I'm surprised that a shower was designed after a stove, though.
Are you?
Yeah.
So if you
Have you never picked up a bucket and tipped it on your head?
Actually, I don't know that I have.
As a barbarian, back before, when was it?
1767.
Before 1767, did no one pick up a bucket and tip it over their head and think that would be nice if that happened all of the time?
But just think about this for a second, right? So fire, putting something on fire to cook it, like it was direct on a flame.
Yeah.
And then they would have put something on the flame and then put something to cook on the...
I'm sorry, you've lost me. There's too many ons. Start again.
So
the flame.
The stove concept is very basic. It would have been like a flame and then something to cook on the flame.
Yes.
But then in time it would have been something on top of the flame that the food could then sit on. Like something that conducts heat, right?
Yes.
So that's what a stove would have been.
Do you think
But
it wouldn't have been an enclosed
to make
thing
water
with a door?
go up and then rain is quite sophisticated, right? So if I show you what the image of what the shower, not a modern day shower. Right?
Can you also show me what a stove from...
Okay, do we really need to get... See?
That's a modern shower.
No, but see how it's like... That's not a modern shower. That's not some fancy spa with like jets coming off. The water it wasn't plumbed into a fucking wall. It was like from the bottom, coiled up a metal frame and then came out the top. I love how I'm doing this.
I'm still... Can you Google what a stove looked like in that same year, please?
The evolution of the stove, I would just like to say that my explanation of like fire with something on it is from way, way, way before this. But
yeah, see, look at that beast.
yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, but of course
But no one thought of a shower before someone made that fucking thing.
Yes, because they would have boiled the water on the stove to tip themselves over a bucket.
Honestly, if I was born in 1767 and we lived together, I would get up in the window of the apartment above ours and slowly tip a bucket of hot water over you so that you could shower.
Oh, thank you.
But did no one do that for their bestie?
Well, props not.
No.
No, but thanks.
Honestly,
I love that you would do that for me.
you're so welcome.
Oh, I wouldn't.
And I would have died of
TB.
Yeah,
Polio.
or, what's the rat one?
The plague.
Thank you. The black plague.
The rat one. Back to
ACOTAR. So Nesta is going to soon discover how much Feyre likes her if she's going to stand above her in an apartment and tip hot water on her.
Yeah.
Feyre indeed replies, when we get home, we'll install something else for you.
Yeah, and I wanted to scream a shower.
Yeah.
But we don't know if it's pre-1767, what we've got going on in Prithian. Right. So
And Grayson and his father, Lord Nolan, arrive on horses with 24 guards.
Specific number.
Well, they say 24.
Oh, so you're good at maths then. Imagine if you'd given me a number and like it was 26 and I would have went, oh, that's a specific number, and you would have said, yeah, well, there's 2 dozen.
Like so, he was right.
Yeah. So good. You got it. Good.
Yeah, good. Grayson comes bursting into the room, his blue eyes searching Elaine from head to toe.
Yeah.
Did you get the feeling that Grayson was relieved to see her?
Yes, I did. That's how it read.
Yeah, yes. Interesting. Words fail Elaine. Surprise, surprise. Honestly, she loves an actual racist.
Yeah.
There's Faye and there's humans.
Yeah. I don't think of it as a race.
Oh, I do.
Yes.
He is a racist. So Nesta informs them that the wall has fallen. She gives a very short, sharp summary of the Queen's highburn, etc. And Elaine begins to beg them to offer sanctuary to the humans. She says that the Queens will not send aid here, and so they have to do something. Grayson says, I would be inclined to believe you if you were not lying to me with your every breath.
Do you think he simply means that he knows she's Faye and that she's just lying because she's not portraying herself as herself?
Yes. Nolan spits is how I would describe how he talks.
Yes.
That he knows Elaine is Faye, that she went into the cauldron first, like she had a choice, but anyway.
Yeah.
And it has a mate who is the son of a High Lord. And Rhys says, and who exactly told you this?
In comes Jurian. And for a split second, I was like, I think we're going to have an epiphany of this character.
I had said that Jurian there was something sus with him.
Yes.
I realised that Jurian also has something in. So whenever Lucian comes up in my notes, I write eyeball daddy.
Do you?
Yes. Just like as a reminder. And I wrote it for Jurian. And then I was like, hold on a fucking second. Lucian's missing an eye.
Yeah.
And Jurian's singular eye was rolling around on Amarantha's hand for a very long time, 50 years. They were both missing an eye at some point.
Yes.
And that leads me to my theory.
Roger.
That we need to talk about Jurian for a minute.
Okay.
So he was human.
Yes.
And all that was left of him was an eyeball.
Yes.
And a finger bone.
Yes. Peter Pettigrew.
Peter Pettigrew.
Yes.
Peter Pettigrew is an animagus, right?
Yes.
Do you think Mrs. Norris...
Oh, Mrs. Norris.
Do you think she's a maledictus?
So, yes, you have asked me this before. And whilst I didn't know what this was, and I feel that you have to explain it because there'll be listeners who don't know what it was.
Okay.
When you explained it to me, I was like, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So explain maledictus.
So maledictus is, actually there's a difference. Animagus is you can choose to turn into an animal and when you turn back into a human.
Yes.
Which was Peter Pettigrew, and it was also Sirius Black.
Yes.
Right? Could choose when he turned into a dog and then could choose to opt out.
Yes.
A maledictus is that the more times you change into your animal form, the more you get stuck in that animal form. Mm-hmm. And if you've ever seen Fantastic Beasts, I don't know it as well as Harry Potter, but have you seen the first one?
I have, but not enough to remember it, probably.
So do you remember the beautiful woman that the Squirrel? What's the name of the boy that turns into that big black glob?
Oh, fuck, I can't even remember.
Anyway, he falls in love with this lady
Yeah.
who turns into a snake.
Yeah.
Do you remember? She's a maledictus.
Yeah.
So the more often she turns into a the more often she turns into a snake, the more she gets stuck as a snake.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that's why Mrs. Norris has different coloured eyes. So you know she has red eyes, but no other animal has red eyes.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm on board with that theory.
So
What's it got to do with Jurian?
what it's got to do with Jurian is that he was resurrected by the cauldron.
Yes.
Do you think he was resurrected into a human or into a fae?
No, I not basing this on anything other than just my gut, but I would imagine that he was resurrected into a fae.
So, firstly, no one has ever been resurrected from such a small amount of them left.
Yes.
If you remember that everyone who's ever been changed has a full body.
Yes.
So Miriam, Feyre, and I won't say who else because
Yes.
that's later in the series.
Correct.
So Jurian's the first one to ever be resurrected through only very small parts.
Yep.
And also, he's pretty damn cocky if he's a human.
Yeah, 100%,
Right.
because he's got zero power.
And so if he's fae, what's his power?
Yes.
And I think that is to come.
He's cauldron made. So, yes, definitely.
And the cauldron was happy, if you will remember, the cauldron gifted Elaine her gifts, and then it only got pissed once Nesta stole from it.
Yes.
And Jurian was turned well before both of them
By Happy Cauldron.
by Happy Happy. So Happy Happy may have gifted something to Jurian that we don't know about. Anyway, that's my theory on Jurian.
Yes, I'm on board with that. I think that that's going to be interesting. I love Jurian as a character.
Yeah.
And I love him even more in just a minute.
Yeah.
So we have this sense of doom somewhat. Some readers will, some readers won't have a sense of doom about Jurian entering the room.
Yeah.
He's pretending to be a bit mad and pretending to be working with Hybern and has been pretending all this time.
Yeah.
And he tells Rhys to look into his mind to see that he's actually telling the truth about that being just a ruse.
Yeah.
Rhys has conveniently not thought of doing that once this whole time.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
What? And this is the other thing is like, okay, Rhys has these powers to be doing this sort of stuff. He could be doing it with every single person. And also, Azriel's meant to have like the best shadows ever. And between the two of them, they've not understood that Jurian's working for the man and robbing Peter to pay Paul. Is that even the right? I'm just going to use that.
No, but that's okay. So I think that firstly, I agree. Like, why wouldn't Rhys have done that?
Yeah.
Because he's been on about Jurian for a while.
A long time.
But also Jurian, we had kind of talked previously about what his actual role was in all of this because he was resurrected by the King of Hybern for
what?
For what?
Yeah.
And then he promised him that he wanted revenge against Miriam and Draken, which was understandable.
Yeah.
And the king let him track them relentlessly with, no monitoring. Like, it was a little bit like, for what? Like,
Well, I have a theory here, and I think that there would be something to do with Amarantha's reporting back to the King of Hybern about Jurian's future or past. And also I think that the king probably wanted to test the cauldron to see how much it could do with so little.
yeah, maybe.
So I think that there's two parts to that. I think that Amarantha would have been saying, if we're going to test the cauldron, let's do it with Jurian. And
Yeah.
Amarantha's not stuck around to see the results of that.
If you'll remember, Amarantha's body was promptly taken away from under the mountain.
Yes, it was.
So Jurian says to Rhys, you should have looked. I expected you to look into my mind and see the truth. Why didn't you? And Rhys says, because I didn't want to see her, referring to Amarantha. And I get it, but also part of me says, come on.
Put your fears aside.
Yeah.
You've got your mate now.
Like, you're willing to do so much.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand why he hasn't done it because that's not the story.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, that's
Sarah's
right.
very clever there.
So Jurian reveals that Tamlin ran right back to Hybern after your meeting ended this morning, right to the camp at the Spring Court where Hybern now plans to launch an assault on Summer tomorrow.
Yeah, quite stressful, isn't it?
Very, very.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of time to prepare. So whilst Reese and Jurian are having a little catch up, Jurian explains that he has a desire to find Miriam and Draken and apologise.
Yeah.
Which is, quite honourable. And obviously he also wants to ask them for help because they have somewhat avoided all of the conflict over the last 50 years.
Yes. He elaborated on the fact that the reason he mentioned Miriam to Reese and Feyre and everyone else at Highburn originally was to put them on their radar.
Yes.
So he wanted them to find Draken, as Jurian believes that Draken has a legion that is large enough to turn the tide of the war against Highburn. So he kind of was saying that he mentioned it to remind them so that they would start looking into where they were.
Plant the seed.
Yeah, that's right.
Quite clever.
That's right. So he pretended to hunt them for them to be on their radar.
Yes.
After the meeting, Tamlin ran right back to the Spring Court, right to the camp where Highburn now plans to launch assault on Summer tomorrow.
Jurian reveals to everyone that Vassar wasn't killed and they found a Death Lord with a penchant for enslaving young women who cursed her and stole her away.
Jurian explains to more about Vassar. He doesn't tell them anything that they don't already know apart from the Death Lord, and that they didn't want to kill Vassar. The Mortal Queens didn't want to kill Vassar as the next in line to her throne is far more willful. Elaine apologises to Grayson for deceiving him. And he tells her that she has a mate and she cannot expect to come back and live with him in this lie. Elaine says, "Oh, my heart belongs to you." And he says, "I don't want it."
Harsh.
Yes. Lord Nolan, is hesitant to take in the poorer people, the poorer mortals, until Jurian says that he will. Otherwise, he will tell Highburn to come here on his way to destroying everything. So Nolan eventually agrees. Grayson tells Elaine to take off the ring. Elaine refuses and he ends up screaming at her to take it off. And the reason I asked you initially as to what you thought about Grayson when he first arrived, I was very shocked at his change in behaviour. He burst into the room like he'd missed her and that he was looking at her and couldn't believe his eyes that she'd returned to him. And then all of a sudden he's like,
"Give me my ring back."
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like he's one of those boys that just listens to what his daddy says.
Yeah, yes. So Reese interrupts and says, that's enough. The lady will keep the ring if she wants it, though none of us will be particularly sad to see it go, and that females tend to prefer gold or silver to iron.
I love this.
Subtle little
A beautiful dig.
And Grayson says to Elaine, "I'm not marrying you. Our engagement is over. I will take whatever people occupy your lands, but not you. Never you." It's so harsh.
Very harsh. So Nesta steps in.
Yeah, the fuck she does.
She gives him a very big reminder about who the fuck she is.
Yes.
And don't fuck with my sister.
Yeah.
So she slaps him around the face and she says, "You never deserved her."
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Nesta always hated him, didn't she?
She did. Yeah.
Jurian then goes to leave and he says, "Tell the Shadow Singer I'm sorry about the arrow to the chest."
I think that's cute.
Yeah. He reveals that his next step is to go and throw a tantrum to Highburn, that his current search, like the lead for Miriam and Draken, was fruitless, before going to the continent to sow the seeds of doubt in the Queen's courts, and then he may indeed join them on the battlefield.
I love the exchange between Jurian and Feyre when he congratulates her on the killing of Dagden and Brenna.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that was a big one for Feyre. And Jurian knew how important that those killings were in the sequence of events, because those two were quite powerful, very much the two I see for Highburn, so it was very important.
Yeah.
She says she did it for the children of the blessed that she killed, and he says he knows, and that's why he chose to trust her.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew when they had that little speak around the campfire where they talked about revenge, and she was like, oh, is that all you want to do with your, next shot at life is get revenge? And he was like, isn't that what you're doing?
Exactly.
And I knew something was sus with him. Always did.
Yes.
So they now are back at the Illyrian camp in Feyre and Rhys's tent. The sisters are actually staying in their own tent. Cassian and Asriel on either side and Moors in front. So, I'm just a little bit like, come on, girls, get going.
I know.
Stop
it.
Start training. Stop dragging us down.
Yeah.
Anyway, Edmure admits that she assumed that Amarantha had broken Jurian and she didn't suspect that he was plotting revenge against Highburn, which was very sad, wasn't it?
Yeah. I feel like with the question of whether or not Amarantha's body is wherever, I think that we will learn more about those two characters.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more to that whole
Absolutely.
story.
Yeah. Moore asks if Elaine is okay and Feyre answers no. You love a racist. Just get over it. Move the fuck on.
She's gone backwards in coming forwards and gone backwards again.
She 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Painful.
Rhys doesn't come to the tent that night and she goes looking for him in the wee hours and she finds him standing on some sort of like a rocky outcropping looking at the stars. And he says to her, I'm grateful to have you at my side. I don't know if I ever told you that, how grateful I am to have you stand with me. That's it for this episode of the Night Shift Court podcast. Join us again next week where we will continue the adventure of ACOTAR's Book 3, A Court of Wings and Ruin.
Whichever platform you're listening on, we would so appreciate a 5-star review. You can follow us at The Night Shift Court on Instagram, Facebook and TikTok.
I hope the night is kind.